Welcome everybody to another episode of Failing My Way in Public in my car to Success, the Mark Sclair podcast. You could have been anywhere else, but you've been here with me, and I appreciate that. So let's get started. Now, this podcast is all about me sharing some stories and the journey that I've been through, how I learned and earned the experience that I have, because I think it's really important to share these challenges that we've faced. I don't think there's enough of people really putting themselves out there and showing like the struggles that happen every single day in what you're doing, internally, externally. So I want to go back to when I was promoted. Now that sounds like, sound how great I am, but I faced challenges. And when I was promoted, I was given the responsibility to lead a team. And there was a team which I took on, and we had a good core base to it. I've shared stories about some people in that team, but I was given the responsibility to hire a new person. Now this new person was going to be the new expectation of what we want to see in a new person joining the team. So they are meant to be coming in and raising the bar. So I interviewed some people, but I thought, hey, I've got a friend who's looking for a job. Maybe he'd be quite good for it. So he came in and he gave a presentation in the interview, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. He was very, very nervous. I think he'd been out of the game for a little while, and he wasn't match fit, let's put it that way, okay? But I still thought he was capable of doing the job. So I asked him to present to me actually something that he knew very well. And he did that, and he did a lot better. So I could see that there was definitely potential there. Now, the reason why I tell this story is because a lot of the time, it's bigger problems that you face by not making a decision rather than actually making a decision. It's bigger problems that you face not making a decision rather than making a decision. And the reason why I say this is because I've hired a friend for the job, and after about a month, or even let's say 2 months, he knew that it wasn't right. But there was a 6-month probation period. Now, what could I have done here? I could have said, right, let's do the 6 months, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But that might have affected my career, my opportunity, because my manager is looking at me thinking, right, you've hired this person, now what are you going to do? How are you going to behave during this time? And I think it's really important to discuss this because you have to make decisions. As a leader, it falls on you. If the team are doing great, it's the team. If the team are doing bad, it's because you're messing up as a leader. So either way, it's a problem. So when I decided to hire my friend, the first week is the onboarding process. So he shadows people, he meets other people in the business, he has time with me, but in that time he has to learn the product to the best of his ability. And then what I want them to do is, and I did this with everybody, they had to present to me, and what that meant was they get a license to sell. I think too often now people are just given everything and they don't show and they don't earn it. And I think there should be that gap, and it means that you have more appreciation for what you're being given. So I think that's something to really take on board. Like leads, should they just be given to people? Should they be earned? Because there's a lot of salespeople now that are very, very fat from the leads that are being given. But I always say, you turn that tap off, how are they going to be able to act when in a down market? So you want to make sure that they're appreciating the leads, making the most of the leads. But as I said, it got about 6 weeks into this, and I could see that it just wasn't working out. Now, I didn't just leave him to it. We sat down and we was like, right, let's put a plan together. How are we going to get better? And what was really interesting, we got into 3 months, okay, and I decided, right, I've got to bite the bullet here. I have to rip the Band-Aid off. I have to make this choice, because I've got my manager again saying to me, Mark, like, are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? Not in a bad way. It's just maybe I was getting too emotional with it. Oh, he's my friend. I don't want to let him down. I've given him this opportunity, and I could see from his side as well, my friend's side, that there was always effort there. And that for me is one of the most important parts. The effort was always there, the commitment was always there, but it just wasn't working. So I decided to call a meeting, and we sat down, and I asked him, how do you think things are going? And he didn't really have much of an answer for me. And I said, I think it's best that we call this a day. And you should have seen his face. His shoulders relaxed, he relaxed, and he's gone, oh, you could just see it. He's like, I'm just so pleased you've said that, because he didn't want to let me down. So he's had all this pressure trying to perform, but he also, not that he didn't want to be there, it was that he didn't want it. Not that he didn't want it, hard to explain. And when it's not going your way, you know, if you're making a couple of deals here and there, then the confidence starts to build. But when there's not that, then you just get inside your own head, you start doubting yourself. And that's what was happening, unfortunately. I wish things would have been better, but what I'm so happy about is that we maintained our relationship because I didn't let it drag on too long. Because I called it a day, because I was the one that said that let's call it quits. It wasn't like, oh, after 6 months, oh, you've not done anything, or you've not done anything, you've let me down, or even he may have felt I might have let him down. But because I did this, we maintained our relationship. We're still friends today. And that's something that I'm really, really proud of. So this was a challenge that I faced as a leader. I hired somebody and I left my ego to the side rather than saying, hey, all the hires that I make are the best hires. No, definitely not. Definitely not. There's definitely an art to hiring. And that's something that I learned. Because this person was going to be the benchmark now. And that wasn't happening. So if it wasn't happening, the team were looking around thinking, who's this guy you're hiring? Like, why? And he's being paid more money. That's a story for another time. But yeah, being paid more money. So what are we doing here? We're working our arse off for like less than what he's getting paid. So there could have been more toxicity within the team as well. So a lot of the time, just letting things settle and letting things go by can be a negative. So I just want us to think about that. As a leader, making those big decisions is extremely important to your career. And these are the big decisions that people don't want to make. And as a leader, you have to make these decisions. So I want you to think about that. This is all about, is leadership for you? If it is, what are those steps you should be taking to ensure you become the best leader you can, but also get the best out of your team? Now, I'll finish with this. You could have been anywhere else, but you've been here with me, and I appreciate that. So if you've enjoyed this, please like and share. Let's spread this across the community. That's how we spread value, by everyone getting to know about this. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.